In this video, I'm going to show you how to generate these stunning 8K comic pages right on your laptop with just 8 gigs of VRAM. Just imagine how long it would have taken to pull something like this off only 5 years ago. If you're an art lover like me, or a creator working with an 8 gig laptop, you are definitely not being left behind. You don't need a $2,000 GPU to create masterpieces like this. As always, I've dropped the full ComfyUI workflow in the comments below. Here is the LoRA model we are using for this video. It's honestly a fantastic model. So huge shout out to the creator. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up icon when you head over there to download it. Right here you can see the recommended strength settings and the trigger words to activate it. So definitely make sure you include the phrase comic book realism in your prompt. This is the node where you will select the LoRA after you've downloaded it and dropped it into the LoRa's folder in your ComfyUI directory. And right here you can see all the models required for this workflow. Just download the JSON file I've attached in the comments, drag and drop it into ComfyUI and click these links. They'll automatically download straight to your downloads folder. I covered all the installation instructions in the first 2 minutes of my previous video. If this is your first time using this model, please go ahead and check that out first. And here is the prompt I'm using for the first generation. Again, don't forget to use the phrase comic book realism in your prompt. As you can see, I've added the text Odin guides my axe to the prompt. This way, we can test the text generation accuracy right alongside the artistic capabilities of the model. And here's the negative prompt I'm using for all these generations. Nothing too complex, just some essential instructions to keep it clean. Here's the base resolution I'm using for this video. And we are going to use the 4x ultra sharp upscaler to hit that massive 8K resolution. Check out the task manager here to get an idea of how much system RAM and VRAM is being used throughout the generation. Take a look at the K sample values as well. These settings have consistently given me the best results. Now the image is being processed by the ultra sharp upscaler to push it to 8K. And here's our first image. Let's appreciate the sheer quality of this first render. First, check out the line weight. That's the thickness of the black ink lines. That separates the character from the background, giving it that classic sticker pop using high-end graphic novels. It's not messy or sketchy, it's deliberate. Then this model has nailed the lighting source coming from that lightning bolt in the back. See how it catches the rim of the shoulder? The anatomy is spot on for this genre too. It's heroic and exaggerated. Look at the squats and the definition in the abs. But it doesn't look broken or AI weird. It respects human proportions while giving us that epic fantasy feel. And finally, the text generation. Odin guides my axe. It's clean, legible, and placed inside a proper speech bubble. We generated this 8K masterpiece locally on an 8GB VRAM laptop in one go. That is absolutely brilliant. Here's the second prompt we are going to try in this video. Check out the generation process. And here's our second image. It has taken 184 seconds, that's just over 3 minutes. You can clearly see the insane level of details when I zoom in. Check out the surface rendering on the skin. The model has managed to capture that glistening post-workout sweat texture on her shoulder and upper arms. That is incredibly difficult to do in a comic style without making the character look like shiny plastic or a 3D render. Here it uses white ink highlights to mimic wet skin while keeping that hand-drawn aesthetic. Then look at the lighting logic. You've got that harsh bright daylight coming through the gym window on the right. It creates a sharp rim light that runs down her arm and the right side of her leg. This is a pro technique called separation. It pops the character off the background so she doesn't blend into the shadows of the gym. The line work here is also clever. Notice how the ink lines on the character are bold and thick, but the lines on the chins and the weights in the background are slightly thinner. That creates instant depth. It tells your eye, this is the foreground, that is the background. And finally, the text generation is crisp, the bubble placement is perfect, and it captures that cheeky gym culture vibe. It's mind-blowing to think we generated all of these complex details using one simple text prompt. Let's try our third prompt now. For this one, I am trying to generate something dramatic, a ghost ship. Here's the image. Again, it took 3 minutes. Well, this time there's an extra no, and when that happens, just try again. Everything except that extra no looks great. First, look at the atmospheric perspective. You've got this eerie, monochromatic green fog consuming the background. Usually, AI struggles with fog. It turns into a blurry mess. But here, the model kept the ship sharp while letting the background fade out naturally. That creates a massive sense of scale and isolation. The texture work on the hull is absolutely delicious. Zoom in on the wood planks and those barnacles near the waterline. It's not just a flat brown texture. You can see the rot, the weathering, and the years of decay. The model understands that old wood needs to look rough, not polished. And I love the little pop of warm lighting in the captain's cabin windows. That tiny bit of yellow against the sea of green is a classic color theory trick. It draws your eye right into the mystery. Now let's try something futuristic. We've done muscles, we've done wood textures, now let's see how the model handles precision architecture. And here's the image in 3 minutes. The first thing grabs you here is the 1 point perspective. Look at how all those building lines converge perfectly towards that light source in the distance. Usually, AI gets confused with the skyscrapers. They start bending or melting into each other. But here, it's rule straight. Then you've got the color grading. You have those cool steel blue tones in the glass skyscrapers on the sides, clashing beautifully with that warm golden sunrise exploding from the center. And look at the reflections on the building windows. They aren't just flat blue rectangles. You can see the variation, the lights turned on inside, and where the morning light catches the edges. Finally, the text, next stop, the future. It's clean, bold, and perfectly centered in the negative space of the sky. Let's try something a bit darker now. This Gothic prompt will test how the model handles texture and mood. Here's the image, again in 3 minutes. First, look at the way the folds cascade down her legs and pull on the floor. The model understands the weight of the material. It looks like heavy velvet, not light silk. Then you've got the color theory. This is a textbook use of complementary contrast. You have that intense blood red dress clashing against the cool tea blue cushion of the throne. That contrast forces your eyes straight to the center of the image. The AI isn't just throwing colors around, it's actually composing the shot like an art director. Finally, the text. Your blood smells divine. The font choice is bold, legible, and the bubble placement doesn't obscure any important details like her face or the wine glass. It's absolutely production ready. Now let's try the vintage pinup style. This prompt is a brilliant stress test for the model because it combines organic shapes with rigid mechanical details. And here's the image in 3 minutes as usual. First, look at the texture mapping on the car hood. Usually, AI makes cars look like shiny new toys. But here, you can see the flaking rust and the weathering on the paint. That's not just a color change. It's a texture detail that tells a story about the age of the vehicle. It gives the image a gritty, lived-in feel that contrasts with the clean beauty of the character. And next, pay attention to the surface deformation on her shirt. That gingham check pattern is a nightmare for most models. Usually the squares go flat or get distorted, but here the pattern actually wraps around the folds of the fabric and the curvature of her body. That is high level geometric understanding. And of course the text. I think I have a flat tire. Spot on. Clean, legible, and perfectly captures that playful 1950s postcard vibe. This is our final prompt for this video. Let's generate a biker girl. Here's the image. The biggest flex here is the tattoo rendering. Usually AI treats tattoos like dirt or random noise on the skin, but look closely at her arms. You can actually distinguish the inclines from the skin tone. It respects the curvature of the arm. The tattoos wrap around the bicep rather than just sitting flat on top. That is incredible surface mapping. Then check out the hard surface reflections on the bike. Look at the chrome headlight and the engine block. And finally, the text. Move over granddad. Perfect placement, perfect attitude. It doesn't overlap the character. And the font weight matches the heavy bold lines of the motorcycle. This is 8K storytelling at its finest. That's it guys. Create some 8K masterpieces using this workflow and tell me about them in the comments below. See you in the next video.